I am giddy this morning. So went through, started making my first few pages of edits to the first 50 pages of my novel. A lot of, a lot of numbers there, basically. But obviously, I mentioned that for the month of August, I really need to focus on the first 50 pages and the last 50 pages of my novel, and started reworking the first 50 pages today. And boy, I'm very confident in what I did with revising that section. My intro now reads way, way, way better than what I had done before. Way back when I had finished my second draft and I decided to just do an overhaul of the first few chapters. I can see why I did it, and it makes way more sense that I did. So more work. Didn't want to do it. Obviously, took, I mentioned there was quite a few days there in that process when I was just absolutely frustrated. But yeah, this looks tons and tons better. The main thing that happened in the main changes were that I basically took what was about a page, 1 to 2 pages of just getting a sense of the character and their family life, and I basically expanded it into about 5-ish pages instead. So I just went further with just expanding the story a little bit. What that did was it also expanded the voice as well. It gave the character more of a distinct voice. The character is somewhat unusual. Their voice isn't really that unique necessarily, basically, but they come from more of a working class background. So it was a chance to kind of explore some of the dialects, some of the way they talk, and the way they tell the story, because it is in first person. So very, very good on what I wrote here. Again, with just a bit of an expansion. Generally speaking, you want to condense. You want to sort of, you always want to be very concise. But the problem comes in where if you're trying to be so concise that you're making your sentences and your paragraphs do like 8 different things, that's where the problem was. And that was the issue with my first initial drafting. Was my sentences were just doing so much. I had paragraphs that were showing like all these different aspects of characterization. But it was so much that there was no impact there. So it needed to be dragged out. It actually needed to be more slowly presented, rather than just condensed in this very short thing. And so with that, obviously there's some work. I definitely have to fix some of the a lot of the grammar stuff needs to be redone. Obviously, it's not, by no means is it perfect, but it looks good. I'm very happy, and it looks good. And I'm confident enough that in the first 5 pages, you will get a sense of who this character is. Like you could basically read the first 5 pages, and you would know, you'd feel like you've seen this character. Maybe not. Maybe you may not necessarily know them, but you'll feel basically like you can get a sense of who this character was, which is really what the goal is, in many respects. I've also gone through and I've also introduced sort of the setup for the main conflict right in the beginning as well. Originally, I had waited till about chapter 2 to start introducing it, but I decided just to throw it into the first chapter here, because there was kind of a vacancy. There was a spot in the first chapter where I had a chance to introduce it, and I decided to just show it early. Again, it's one of those things where if you're going to be sending it off to an agent, editor, whoever, if they can get a sense what the conflict's going to be earlier on, it just works. You don't always need to do that. I sometimes hate stories that try and throw the conflict right in the beginning. I like books that are a bit of a slower burn, that where you can kind of sort of show some general malaise of their life, whatever, in the beginning. I know I'm kind of the exception there, but where I can kind of get a sense of the character first. I like that style, but I know most people do not, and most people also want to get a sense of the character and the conflict right in the beginning. So did that as well. So just a lot of boxes were ticked here, and again, it looks way, way, way better. I don't think this happy feeling necessarily is going to last. all that long throughout this process. Maybe it will, but you know, like I'm anticipating there's gonna be a lot of days where I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing, and so this is gonna be just a just a day or two of nice kind of a day or two of joy in a sense, before we start getting into the hard work. So with that, I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's day 200, which is awesome. Gonna be doing a video for everybody on that tomorrow, just kind of going over some channel updates. And then, yeah, rest of the week, it is back to making the novel better.